I'm Sydney.
And Connor.
And today we are going to be doing sort of a cop-out video because I don't have a buffer for my videos at the moment, so...
No one would know.
I mean, how would they know? You know, we're just having so many food videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this week we are talking about my top 3. It's
your top 3 and least 3?
Yes.
Bottom 3? Top and bottom 3?
Mm-hmm. Our 6 total. 3 highlights, 3 lowlights.
Mm-hmm. To wedding planning.
So, yes, top 3, worst 3 of wedding planning. Mm-hmm. So let's just dive right in. I feel like it was best suited for an good, bad, or bad, good, bad, good. Bad,
oh,
good.
Yeah.
So, a sour sweet kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say bad, good, bad. So we leave on a high note.
Yes, let's end on a high note. So, I have our little notes over here, and let's get into the
bad goods.
The bad goods.
The bad, not good.
Bad, not good. So, one of the not cool things about wedding planning is pricey everything, specifically when you get into talking wedding specific.
Yeah, so it was funny because I had already known this was an issue with purchasing and investigating, all that stuff. And so it was one of those things where right off the bat, I was like, hey, by the way, whenever you're looking up this stuff, just leave out that you're having a wedding. Because even if you talk to a consultant or you talk to a business, if you tell them I need 40 of anything, and then they go, oh, what for? And you just tell them, because I'm having a solstice party. Mm-hmm. They go, okay. And then they give you the price. And it's like, here, you can have 40 of those things for $200. And it's like, cool. But as soon as you mention the word wedding, they're like, oh, those 40 things cost $800 for no reason other than it's a wedding, so they can charge more for it because it's like, what else are you going to do?
Yes, and that goes into, there are certain things that you're not recommended to leave out the word wedding for. Obviously, like your venue is supposed to kind of have an idea that it's what kind of event they're having or hosting. But even with them, like depending, like if your venue does more than one type of event, it's probably better to withhold that it is a wedding unless you can't.
Until you've made the purchase.
Yes, because a lot of venues will say, oh, if you're having just like a large
gathering.
A family gathering, for example, it'll be $2,000, chairs are included, tables are included.
Kitchen included,
yes.
Everything.
You don't need to work with the venue-specific list of vendors that they have. Yeah. Whereas if you specifically say that is a wedding, then all of a sudden it's like, well, actually, you're required to have our staff, our list of vendors for catering, and it's going to be $20,000 because nothing else that we told you was included for the one is now included.
Yeah.
Which there were a couple places that we looked where it said, inquire only, basically. And then you reach out to them of like, hey, I'm interested. And then they come back and are like, well, actually, our website was misleading because not all of your guests can stay here. Only a small portion can stay here, even though we say that we can host up to. We don't actually mean that they can stay on the property. You'll have to find rooms for them. And then it's also $20,000 minimum, depending on what weekend you choose, because we'll price gouge based on weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And then that kind of goes, that's a little bit of a tip for all life in my book, is that if you're looking at something and they say inquire for price, you're probably going to get ripped off more often than not. If something doesn't advertise the price to you and they don't have it laid out, that means they're looking to manipulate and take advantage of whoever is their client. So that's something to think about. If you're doing wedding planning and you're looking at venues, and one venue tells you all the pricing, it says if you're having 20 people, it's this. If you're having 40 people, it's this. If you're having 100 people, it's this much. And they give you all those pricing, outlines. And then you look at another one and it says inquire for pricing. Just don't even bother. Just go with the one that says it.
Unless you know that you are willing to have a very high budget, or you're having people help pitch in. Like, a lot of people have their families pitching in.
True.
We in particular are taking on the financial ourselves and not requiring or requesting our families to help out. Obviously, like, we are accepting help with planning and whatnot, but it's not like we're telling our families, hey, we need to be able to meet a certain threshold of money just to have a venue.
Yeah.
Whereas there are a lot of options out there. Like, if you look at community centers, which, depending on your community, there's a wide swath of just, how do you put it, like, historical buildings are sometimes included versus like just gymnasiums. It kind of just depends on your community. But if you look up specifically stuff owned by your city, you can find a lot of really cool places that are not that expensive. There are several about, an hour, 2 hours away from us that are under $1,000 for a weekend.
And that's something to think about. Like, just remember, there's a big difference between public and private. So publicly owned would be your state, local government, whatever. And then private is obviously, a landowner who owns a bunch of land. Typically, your private owners are going to be much more expensive. And the thing to remember is that a lot of the big, like your state parks, your city parks, a lot of times, like the state parks in particular, or your district, they will they have beautiful areas, natural areas. They have these landscaped, maintained areas that are open to the public, but reservable for events, and it's affordable because it's funded by the government anyways.
And with government funded places, they sometimes do have a legal cap on the price. Like, for example, what's it called with the stamp?
Oh, notary?
Yes, notary in our state, for example, it's capped at a specific price that notaries can't charge more than that for their services. So it goes similarly with locations of, if your city owns a place and it is reservable, like a building or like just an area.
Right.
They might, say, oh, we have to have certain number of staffing. Like when I was researching, they would be like, okay, if you're over this number of people, we have to have, some level of staffing just available to kind of not necessarily police your event, but just kind of be available in case something goes a little awry. But if you're under a certain number, then you don't even need to like file anything with us. Right. So that being said, wedding equals expensive depending on how you go about it.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre how putting the wedding tagline on things will just increase the price. So if you look up, say you're just shopping online for knickknacks or table decor, if you type in flower centerpiece, it may be a couple bucks. Like, you may be paying $3 or so. But then you say wedding centerpiece, all of a sudden, all the items that you see, it's like the minimum you're paying for that same item is $10. And that adds up depending on how many tables you have, how many guests you have, and it's just a little ridiculous when you type in wedding. Everything has 150% markup on it.
Yeah.
So that's something to really consider, and that's one of the bad parts.
Yeah, and we're just going to take a quick break and switch out the camera, and then we will be right back.
With one of the goods.
All right.
So we are back, and it's time for one of the sweet things of going negative, positive, bittersweet. And that is that it is a fun, big excuse for us to just really kind of be lavish.
Yeah, just have fun making a party.
Yeah, when else are you going to host a party that you yourself are the guest of honor for?
Yeah, and we're both big fans of Lord of the Rings, and so something like it just keeps coming up is like Bilbo's party. It's like Bilbo when he was 11-1. Obviously, that would be a big occasion, if we make it to 11-1.
Yes,
then there you go. But
we might, depending on how technology progresses and just lifestyle things.
Exactly, and it's one of those things where it's like, well, we're not 11-1, but we're getting married, so.
Yeah, it's a great excuse.
Having a Bilbo party.
It's been a joke for a while, even before we were engaged, of, just put it on the wedding registry.
Yeah.
You're like, it's expensive and whatnot, but just for the registry.
On the registry.
Yeah, why not? Who's gonna say no to a wedding registry that is literally just like 2 Lego sets and Guggy?
Yep.
It's our little boy, Guggy.
Yeah, so it's just a ton of fun. Just kind of going through the different ideas, and it's like, obviously we're both keeping budget heavily in mind, but at the same time, it's the funny part. This kind of goes into one of our negatives later. Is that it's like there's a lot of emphasis. I mean, you want to blend them, it doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah, one of our next negative is essentially that. Is it the opinions on weddings?
Yeah,
of just like the expectation that there is like a certain tradition that needs to be upheld.
Yeah, and just the comments, like, so we, obviously now that we've mentioned the word wedding, all of social media and the algorithm is like, wedding, here's all this wedding stuff. So they send us every reel and post about wedding. And so we get these posts where people are talking about their weddings and like, oh, I had an inexpensive wedding. It was only $25,000. And it's like, $25,000?
Whereas Connor and I have been adamant that our wedding and our honeymoon are going to be under 10.
Yeah.
And 10 is being like the maximum.
Yeah.
Absolute, like we were lavish.
Exactly. And that's one of those things where it's like, if it hits 10, that's like, damn, all right. Like
we can afford emotionally to part with $10,000 for an experience.
Yeah.
But we are not wanting to go into debt for an experience that, quite honestly, like, it's a very minor part of our lives.
Yeah. It's just, it's the stepping stone into one big thing. And it's funny because it's like, that's a lot of money. And it's like, that's something too. It's like, that's not like, yes, we're very fortunate to be in the position we are where we can even say, $10,000 could be the top end of that. But it's like, that involved overtime and a lot of time away from home, and just
the fact that we both personally have had savings built up in the first place.
Yeah, that's being
regardless of overtime. We both personally have had a buffer that we have built up. And the fact that we are in a financial situation where we can say $10,000, we are going to have an actual wedding, we are going to go on a honeymoon vacation, and make it a thing instead of just, staying around our home or my hometown.
Yeah.
And just going to the courthouse, which we did kind of discuss having a more of an elopement as opposed to a full-on, more traditional wedding, which a lot of the traditions we are doing away with. We aren't going to have a dance floor. That's one thing, because we don't really like dancing that much.
Neither of us really dance, no.
We dance in the kitchen. That is our level of dancing.
That's the thing too, is it's like there's enough, like the venue that we got has enough of an area that can be a dance floor, but it's not like the focus of things.
Yeah, we probably aren't going to have like a traditional first dance because, I mean,
might be a goofy dance.
It would be goofy, but it's not something that I envision as like a requirement, whereas a lot of people are like, oh, you have to. We are going to have a small cake that we cut, but it's not like the cake that we are serving for everyone.
Yeah,
which some people spend exorbitant amount on cakes.
And the funny thing about that is, like, so many, this is where we're getting into the wedding traditions, the things that we like versus don't like, and that's why it's kind of blending now, is it's so many of the wedding traditions have been commercialized. They have been turned into something where it's like, oh, you have to do this. Yes. You have to spend all this money and do this thing. And it's like, no, you don't. In fact, if the less you spend, the better it means. Like, we're going to be making, like, we're gonna full disclosure, just gonna go get sheet cakes for the wedding. Like, everyone's gonna have some cake to enjoy.
We've already discussed and priced out just going to Costco for a lot of the food items.
Yeah, it's like oh, hey, actual businesses go to Costco, like cater. A lot of times the catering groups that you are purchasing for a high upcharge just go and shop at Costco, and then they make their things, like,
which is why it's funny, because it's like, we literally, our main meal, we aren't getting a traditional caterer.
Right,
our
we're
main
gonna do
meal
brunch.
that we are focused on, brunch. We've been looking up, and it's like, you can just order the food in a quantity that it's just like, if I order it through someone and task them specifically to cater this, I know it's not going to be $120, but yet here I can look and order myself the food item in the quantity needed for 50 plus people.
For example, one of the brunch items is biscuits and gravy. We did a little research and found that the very gravy that multitudes of diners and restaurants
almost
purchase.
Everyone in our area that does breakfast with biscuits and gravy,
they buy the same canned gravy and add a few home spices to it to spruce it up, but
it literally, we tried it. We ordered the 6-pound can. And it tastes like nostalgia. Like, it tastes like every single diner that I grew up going to, and then some.
Yeah, it was funny because I tasted it and I was like, oh, it needs a little more flavor. Added pepper and tapatio to it. And it tasted exactly like what I've gotten at, like, almost every diner I've gone to. And I was like, oh, it is the same stuff, because that literally tastes now exactly like what I want, because every time I go to a diner, I put pepper and tapatio on it, and it's perfect.
Yeah, well, and it's not just that we tried the gravy. It's that we also got frozen biscuits.
Yeah, pre-made frozen biscuits.
That it's just like, you just toss in the oven. You don't even need to thaw. And it dead on. They looked like homemade, like someone's grandmother crafted them.
Yeah.
And they perfectly with the gravy. It's just like, oh, this is what I think of when I think of like childhood going to a diner.
Well, that's what was funny about it, is because when you mentioned the pre-made biscuits, I was like, oh man, but like, I'm so used to seeing the pre-made biscuits have like the hexagonal shape and like the canned biscuits.
They don't look right.
And then I saw the biscuits come out. I was like, oh, those look like biscuit. And then I ate one. I went, this actually tastes exactly like the biscuits I've had at a restaurant that I've been to that I'm fond of. And it's like, I was like, I think these are the exact same biscuits.
Yep. So it's just like the fact that, I mean, obviously it's a little more thought on our part.
Yeah.
But the fact that most of our stuff can be just heated day of or baked like the night before and just
and then
at the ready.
Yeah.
It's just like, yes, there is the expense of us going through that process of we had to buy the can to try it, and then we have to either do it ourselves or task someone day of be like, hey, please make sure that this gets plugged in, this turned on, this put in this.
Yeah, which piggybacking off of that, like one of the things we're looking at catering and stuff versus just doing it ourselves. It's like
we never heard back from like a couple people that we reached out to about catering.
We reached out to several different people, and then like they just did it, and it was like, wow, you know, if that speaks to volumes that they might not
they may be a no-show or they might drop the ball when it comes time to actually do it. But on top of that, we can buy the resources to make, like, coffee, for example. Like, we can buy a coffee...
they call them urns.
Urns, a coffee urn. Yeah, thank you. I was looking for the name. I was like, it's not kettle, it's urn. We can buy was it 100
cup
cup coffee urn?
Yeah, it was like $115, $120 for 100-cup coffee urn.
Right. But then to add coffee to a caterer, it was like coffee, and then they'll keep it filled up. It was like $1,000 from like a caterer. It was like, or you could just buy a coffee urn and a thing of coffee and
it's just
like
loaded. If we get the 100-cup, it'll probably be more than we could possibly ever want. And like,
maybe need to refill it once during the day if everyone drinks coffee.
And then it's just like, well, we can also get a second one and just have it of hot water for tea.
And I think it's worth noting we're looking at no more than 50 people for our wedding.
Yes.
I know some people, they want to have
but
grandiose, but
the thing is that it goes for more extravagant as well, of like just the fact that everything is pricey when you put in the word wedding, the fact that you, not just your own preconceived notions, but the preconceived notions of others on what a wedding should be. When at the end of the day, it's literally just a celebration of you and your spouse.
Yeah.
Of like, we are making a commitment to each other. And in some ways, obviously, people are like, oh, it's just for the state, or it's just for the government to know that you're in a... But there's a lot of... There's in some ways, it's like there's nothing wrong with upholding a tradition, but you shouldn't be feeling like you have to uphold a tradition and have a traditional caterer or have a certain wedding count.
Especially don't go into debt.
Yeah, or go into debt over something that is a one-day event and is at the heart of it meant to just celebrate you and your spouse.
Yeah.
That is... At the bottom line, it's what do you and your spouse value? What do you and your spouse care about? Mm-hmm. And nobody else's wedding or wedding ideas should matter. If you don't want to wear white, don't wear white. Yeah. If you don't want to have a certain type of food, don't have a certain type of food. Nobody needs to have a plated dinner. They just need something. And for a lot of people, food is a good gathering thing, but you don't even need food at a wedding. You can just be like, hey, we're doing a thing.
Steve Harvey said there is no food at a wedding. There's not. It's at a reception. It's different.
Yeah. And it's just like, I would necessarily, like, I don't know, I would draw the line at doing you're invited to one and not the other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some people are like, you're invited to our wedding, but not our reception because we can't feed that many people.
Yeah.
I would kind of tread cautiously over that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think that doesn't sit well.
But, like us, we're going to send out our thing and be like, hey, RSVP if you can. If you can't, then we're going to kind of expand and look at maybe people who didn't necessarily make we would really love them to be here.
Yeah.
Or with our honeymoon in particular, we are going to be putting out of like, hey, we are going to this place. If you want to join up with us, you couldn't make it all the way to our wedding because we live in different areas. Feel free to join us and like hang out for a day.
Yeah.
Like our honeymoon destination is a little bit more doable for some people, as opposed to where we live and them ending up coming to us.
Right.
Because just with how our family and friend groups have been, it's easier for some people to travel to us than others because we're all spread out.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. Just long-term friends will do that.
Yeah, especially since, it's just like a honeymoon. Like, we're having fun. We're going to be celebrating together. We're going to have our alone time.
Yeah.
But then we're going to just be like, we want to see people. That's part of the joy of a wedding and like family gatherings in general is you get to see the people you don't always get to see. It's not the people you see on day to day. It's about the extended universe.
Exactly. And it's like
The Avengers Endgame of gatherings.
It's almost like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the time allotment. It's not like we're, oh hey, come join us on our entire honeymoon. It's like, hey, if you guys want to come out here and during this certain time period, it'll work out to where in between all the stuff we're doing, yeah,
why not?
Why not have fun? Why not enjoy the experience of now being freshly, man and wife, as they call it.
Exactly.
And
there's nothing wrong with making your own rules about your event, your circumstances.
See it as that'll be our first experience as a married couple with those people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's all kinds of stuff you can do with it.
All right, so let's see about
What we got left here.
So another positive thing, we blended two of them, a negative and a positive. So let's do the last negative and just kind of ease into the others. So the last negative is that because we are ordering some stuff online, there's a lot of plastic involved.
There's a lot of plastic in the point of it's just this is just the world in general. But we ordered wooden centerpieces with nails or screws. Sorry.
Yes.
So nails and wood for centerpieces to put flower arrangements on, and the idea was, oh hey, it's wood, they're nails. That's fine. Those both rot and decay with the world and are just things. But then every single piece of wood
was individually wrapped, and then
plastic.
Each packet it had one centerpiece had a packet. Each packet of nails was plastic wrapped, but they were also in a little plastic case.
Yeah. So,
all of the nails were the same size. They could have literally been just in this plastic case. Our venue does not allow open flames, so I ordered some artificial LED candles. And I kid you not, the candle body and the cover for the bottom where the batteries go in were separate in plastic.
And the arrangement, which was 9 pieces of wood with 8 screws. Sorry, I keep getting.
But they included 10 per.
It's 8 screws, 9 pieces of wood, and they're like little slivers of wood that you arrange and then screw together. So it was like Lincoln Logs. So imagine if you got 9 Lincoln Logs and each Lincoln Log was individually wrapped, and then they put the 9 screws in the little baggie, and there you go. And you order 10 of them. It's like they could have just sent a box of all the pieces of wood stacked inside of a box with a bag of nails in there, and it would have sufficed. But instead, every single Lincoln Log is individually wrapped inside of a package. Since there's 10 of those pieces in there, the screws are now individually in 10 different bags. Instead of just being a bundle of screws. It was bizarre.
It is bizarre. And especially considering we're having a smaller wedding of 50 people. And so the number of tables we have to decorate is less.
Yeah.
It's just like, I can't imagine having more guests and needing more tables and, in theory, more centerpieces. Like, that is a lot of plastic.
It's just surprising.
And we are getting a fair number of stuff secondhand as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, we thrift a lot in general.
Yes.
And so it's
but there are some things where it's just like, I know for a fact I have never seen some of these items in a quantity that makes sense at a thrift store.
Yeah.
Where it's just like,
we already
might
purchased
as well.
those centerpieces. So then it's like
obviously the shipping back and...
Yeah, and then that's the thing too. The terrible thing too is I know, having previously worked at Amazon, that when you ship something back to Amazon, they don't restock it. They put it in a big old pile of get rid of it, and then they either throw it away or they sell it on a pallet to someone for pennies on the dollar, and because people buy these pallets of rejects, and it's usually stuff like that where nothing was wrong with it, but it was returned, so it gets thrown on this pallet. So you pay a couple $100 to like a couple $1,000 for a pallet of just stuff that has been returned, and most of the time it's the packaging was ruined when it came here, and it's really a shame because it's like, I know that if we were to send those back and say, oh man, I don't want to do all this plastic, all they would do is throw it in either the trash or on one of those pallets. It wouldn't be resold to someone else looking to get the same thing. So it's kind of a shame.
Part of our thought is, if we can thrift it, that would be fantastic. If not, or even if we do, we're probably not going to want a good chunk of this stuff for the long term. Yeah. We are getting it for a specific event, and we can either resell it or redonate some of these things.
Yeah, they'll very likely get donated to a thrift shop or sold on
or be like, we got a set of 12 of these. We really don't need 12. We would be perfectly fine with a set of 4 or 6.
Yeah.
We can get rid of half of it, if not more.
Yeah.
And it's just like redonating and all of that. Like, it only helps so much when there is so much plastic waste that it's not reusable plastic waste. I would feel a lot better if it was like
compostable or reusable.
Yeah,
or
in some way.
Recyclable. Yeah, but
why is it not
plastics.
Yeah, it's a single-use plastic that really irks me.
Yeah.
I would be more than happy if it came, like, they literally came in a little plastic container.
Why do they need to be individually wrapped inside the plastic?
Yes, and it's like, I get the logic of it making sense for someone in a factory setting of like, oh, just toss 10 of these little packets in.
Yeah.
But like, people could still count.
But I just don't. Yeah, I don't get it in the fact of like, when you look at the soap that I order, the Australian goat soap, where it's literally just 8 bars of soap in a cardboard box, and it comes to you like that, and there's no plastic wrap, and it's that's it.
Yeah,
it can be done.
Yeah, it just is befuddling because it's like some stuff, okay, that makes sense, I'm not too concerned about it. And then others where it's just like, why the extra layer of plastic? I can understand like putting stuff in a box, plastic wrapping the outside of like, I don't want this to get wet.
Yeah.
But the rest of it,
we're not like, oh my god, plastic's the devil, but unnecessarily so. It's just like
I would prefer if it was more sustainable. I at least have the good conscience to know that we are going to donate or sell some of this, so it's not going directly in the trash.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be nice if some of this, has a second life instead of.
Well, like we made
old Amazon.
we made a little bit of the semi joke about, if people at the wedding want to just steal something from us, go for it.
Yeah.
We made the joke like, we'll put a gold star. If there's a gold star on it, it's free. Like, you can take it if you want. If you're like, oh, this punch bowl's so cool, and there's a gold star on it, that's your punch bowl now.
Yeah. Well, and part of what I've been looking for is stuff that we can potentially repurpose around our house.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a limit to how much I want us to bring in and what we can physically keep here. Yeah. But, some stuff that we can potentially just use around the house. Other stuff where it's just like, it's good to donate. Or we bought it secondhand. I know someone else will enjoy this. Or, make it into a gift. But it's just like the fact that like when you do order something new and you're just like, why?
Yeah. So that's definitely one of just like if you're someone who is conscious about your footprint on the earth, just remember that. Like when you go to order stuff, even if it's wood and screws, which that in all sense would be like, that's a good purchase. Just know that there's the high likelihood that every little quantity, every little component of that piece that you're buying is going to be covered in plastic.
And it also, they're not going to include the instructions, so good luck with the picture.
Oh yeah, that's funny. She was like, why do you keep looking at it? I was like, because this doesn't make sense. And it's like, oh, there's a whole other piece that I didn't get out for you. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, because you have to unwrap
another piece.
Yeah, another piece to get to it.
So,
yeah. All right. So those are all of our big gripes so far of wedding planning, and we are coming up kind of quick on our wedding because we picked a date not too terribly far
within
out.
6 months.
Yeah, so, keep that in mind as well with our wedding planning, but a lot of this I feel like extends regardless of your timeline. Mm-hmm. Okay, so another thing is that it's just awesome getting to collaborate on something. Just it's ours completely.
And that kind of goes into, like, both of us are, I don't want to say people pleasers, but we're the type of people who, like, we consider others a lot more than ourselves, and typically it's like we don't plan things for ourselves. We usually plan things to do for others, with others, just in the sense of, well, your mom would like this, my mom would like this, so we do, like, let's go ahead and go do this so that, that's our plans, is to make that person happy. And so there's very few times where us together we're like, hey, this is our thing, like, what do you want to do? And it's like the idea that we're actually putting something together that's for us, and that's it, it's for us.
It's something that we are doing solely to be selfish in a way. Like I said, it's our thing. And, if we're committing this time and money, why not make it something that we truly both enjoy and love? And it's a very collaborative effort, which is what marriage should be.
Yeah.
It's all about collaborating together.
Exactly. And it's something that I think a lot of times, from what I've seen online, especially nowadays, is you look at things and so many people are trying to please everyone else. And it's like, yeah, of course, be considerate. Like, we're gonna feed all these people, and then we're gonna have games and stuff for them to do. But it's like, we're putting it together. It's like, hey, we're inviting you to come to our party that we're throwing for the sake of us. So it's going to have a lot of our flavor. Whereas typically it's like, okay, we're throwing a Halloween party, or we're throwing a solstice, or, some sort of national event. And so it's that thing. It's like, oh, and you tell yourself, what do you do with that sort of event? It's like, well, if you do this, you have a grill, and you make, hot dogs and hamburgers. And so it's like, we got to have that. And it's like, well, this is our party. We don't have to have anything. We can have whatever we want. If we want to have peanut butter and gumball sandwiches.
Yeah, if we want to do biscuits and gravy, then by all means, we're going to do biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
If it's something we can do and we want to do, why not do it?
Yeah, exactly. We're not having peanut butter and gumballs, but that was just the one that I came up to. I was like, you know what? That's a weird...
that is a very odd combination.
Yeah, it's from Mr. Deeds. That's the one that's coming. The guy orders a pizza with peanut butter and gumball.
What is this, good mythical morning?
Yeah, that seems like something they would try. The weird foods of cinema.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
something that we're doing together. And like I said in the first sweet thing, is that it's a good excuse to be selfish. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then our last thing I haven't noted over here is that it's just exciting to think of the future.
Yeah.
It's not just a wedding event or a honeymoon. It's the fact that we are both equally saying that we get to spend the rest of our lives together.
Yeah, it's the first step into everything else. The first day of the rest of your life type of deal.
Yeah, it leads into thoughts of the future. Which... it goes a lot of different ways, because obviously the future is unknown, but the fact that we get to equally be like, we are choosing to go forward together.
Yeah.
And we get to equally dream and think of what that means. And
work out and make decisions together.
Yeah. Of like, ooh, what do you think on this?
Yeah.
Or... let's cross that bridge in 5 years' time.
Yeah, I think
and see where life puts us then.
And that's something that we've come to really not work on, but like that we've discovered as to what works really well with us and then I see it reiterated, echoed by many people, is that there's that old saying about like, oh, it takes compromise, but it's like it doesn't really take compromise. It takes collaboration. It's a very different, distinct thing. It's because compromise means you're making
someone is sacrificing
whatever, but it's like, but when you collaborate, you're working with each other's faults and highlights, in the sense of, it's like you're not just saying, oh, well, that's that, I guess that's how that life, that's what has to be, whatever, I'm gonna ignore that as best I can and move on. It's, no, this is the thing about them, this is a quirk, and we're gonna work together to make this quirk a part of both of our lives, to where it's beneficial to both of us, rather than being shunned and dealt with and compromised with. It's collaborate. It's like, oh, hey, well, that thing about you, that actually lets us do this. Like, if we celebrate that rather than tolerate, it's really nice. And so it's like, in a sense, when it comes down to it, it's like, it really helps that we're getting married having already worked out a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's not about focusing on something that we dislike, and more about focusing on what we both like.
Exactly.
For example, if you hated jam,
Yeah.
I wouldn't force you to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I would be like, okay, we both like peanut butter. What else can go with peanut butter?
Yeah, and it's like, and you can make different things, and
yeah, it's focusing on the collective of, we both are in agreement on this.
That's like,
we
I know,
differ in some ways, but let's focus on what we equally can enjoy and how we make it work together.
right? Like I know you don't typically like grilled fish, for example, but you're okay with sushi, you're okay with tuna fish on a sandwich, you're okay with battered fish.
Yes.
But when it comes to grilled fish, not really your topic. And it's like, if I want that, either I'll easily plan for something else to go accompany it for you instead of that, or we'll just go out to eat. And it's like, I'll have grilled fish when we go out to eat. That way you can get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, I can never have grilled fish because you don't like it. It's like, no, I'll just have it at a different time period, or we'll make we'll work together to find something that,
yeah, exactly. And it's just like with our honeymoon in particular, I made a list of things of like, I would like to do this. This is what I, as someone who is uneducated on the area that we are going to, thinks that this seems reasonable. And then I gave it to Connor, and I was like, infuse logic and the fact that you know where we are going and you've been to some of these things, whereas I don't know, I'm just like tossing out whatever like Google says.
That's like
and it's just like, here's my list of things that I think would be fun.
Yeah.
You can take over and
clean it up. Because, without giving geographical information and all that stuff, because we like to keep a bit private, at least until after everything's done. There are things that are a stop on a road trip and not the highlight of an event. Where... when she was planning it, it's like, oh, hey,
I was like, oh,
let's get a hotel here.
Let's spend a whole day doing this activity, because it looks like a whole day event to me as someone who doesn't know that, oh, this is something you can like go through in 45 minutes, that's 2 hours if you're eating a meal.
Yeah, one of the things that she chose, I was like, no, you don't spend a day there. That's an extended bathroom break. Yeah,
and it's just like, I had no idea. Google didn't tell me that, oh yeah, it's not really a fun, like, it's cool if you need a leg stretch.
Yeah, if you look that place up on Instagram or whatever, people will be like, look how cool this is. And it's like, yeah, it's cool. Like, you go there, you go to the bathroom, you buy, some sort of food, and then you look at the neat things, and then you leave. You spend, 30 minutes outside of your bio break.
Yeah, and I'm just like, see, I didn't know anything about that. I just thought, that sounds really cool. Add that to my list of things we could potentially do. And luckily Connor is...
I've been there, and it's like, oh, hey, actually, we can do all 5 of these things on the way to this thing, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, you don't need a single day for each thing.
Yeah.
Which, that's part of the collaborative effort of just, like, we are both providing input. Me as someone who doesn't know, and then Connor as someone who does know the subject.
On this topic.
That's
not like I know everything. No, she knows a lot of things.
And it's just like... we both present what we think, and then we talk through, or the other one is just like, actually, I think that XYZ, for whatever reason, is this. And then we discuss back and forth if it's something that's not so, I wouldn't say cut and dry, because nothing is cut and dry. Yeah. But, something that's a little less straightforward, of like thought processes and ideas and ideology, of like we both present things to the table, and then we kind of work through, and we make essentially a quilt of like, here's your fabric, here's mine, and here's how they come together.
That's something that, like, if we're going to go and elaborate on the collaboration, is that you are very good at like itemizing and putting things like in a list, whereas like I'm more of a grab it and then like use it type of thing, where it's like, I have this idea and I know we can make it work. How do you want to make it? And then you come up with the time schedule as like to how we do that, and then it ends up being like perfect, because if we were to go about it my way, we might dilly-dally or not get to actually experience all of it. And then, but it's like, if you didn't have, like you said, if you didn't have my grasp on like turning it into a physical thing, you end up spending too much time in certain areas rather than others.
Yeah, and just be like, God, why did I schedule a full day for this when I would have much rather spent most of my day on the thing we just did and had more time with that than this, because I didn't know that they would take different amounts of time. I thought they both equally had a share.
Yeah. So and it's come out to work well in other things that we've done. So it's just like, collaborate.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's nice when it's something that one of us knows. Yeah. Like with our honeymoon destination, it's like Connor knows the area. He's been to some of these things before. I don't know as much. Yeah. But even in things where we kind of equally know, we still have different perspectives, and we can bring stuff to the table. And a lot of times, luckily, we agree of like, yeah, we want to do that. And then it's just like, it doesn't feel negative in any way. Yeah. Of like, we both have a lot of overlap in what we enjoy. And then the outliers, it's just like, yeah, I want to have fun for you.
Exactly. And then we end up having fun doing the other things for the other person, and then we both break each other out of our shells, like on certain things. Like there's certain times where it's like, I could very much tell that you're like nervous, or like you didn't want to do something, or you're just like, and then it's like, oh, this is actually the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, thank goodness Connor's here to soothe my nerves.
Yeah, and the same. And then likewise, there's times where I'm just like, I don't really know much about that, and then, oh, well, it's all good.
I'm just like, well, actually, XYZ.
Yeah. So it works out really well, and it's exciting to think about. Like that's the big highlight of, it's like, oh, we're gonna get married, and it's like, yeah, we're doing the stuff that we're basically going to be doing in the future already, but just like making that commitment to each other of like, hey, we're now gonna be married doing that same stuff. It's like we didn't have any like doubts and stuff, but I don't know, there's just something that's nice about it to be like, oh, hey,
I'm giving you the special title.
Yeah, it's like that's my wife. Yeah.
That's my husband.
Yeah. To be.
To be.
Yeah.
Or not to be. That is the question. For is it nobler in the mind's eye, or whatever said Hamlet to Horatio, the skull?
Yeah.
Is the
Alas.
skull... Yorick. That's
Yorick.
what his
I was
name.
Gonna say that was like Horatio.
Horatio is his BFF who survives.
Looks like it's Yorick, yeah.
Yeah, poor Yorick.
But yes.
Yes. But I think that pretty much sums things up and wraps it up here because this video has gotten quite long.
Yeah, it's long, but if you're watching, you're
Podcast
watching.
episode,
Have it fun
yeah.
with it. It's one of the longer cuts, different little bit different video.
Yeah, probably minimal to no editing on this one in particular.
Unless there's a point that we didn't notice that we babbled and like went off track and repeated ourselves, but
yeah, I did cough at one point, so I'll probably cut that out.
Yeah, probably take the coughs and the I don't know if we neither of us sneezed, but yeah.
I don't think we sneezed. But yeah, that is pretty much all for this week, and hopefully another exciting video will be coming out next Saturday because that is when I post. I post every Saturday as long as I can, and I have a pretty good streak going.
This is the moment where if licensing wasn't a thing, you just start playing Saturday by Elton John. No. Oh, I was going Saturday.
Yeah, but but yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you join me on my Flock and Squawk again sometime. Yeah. And yeah, bye.